everybody, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. I am here to do my weekly deck review. So this is the video that I like to do each and every week where I share with you the decks that I have been working with this week. Typically one tarot deck and one oracle deck unless I've been moved to pull a different one for a client or something like that. And I forget what I was going to say. Oh, that's what it is. Sorry, I'm just going to keep rolling because whatever, I'm human. So I like to do this video for every Sunday. I typically rotate my decks out weekly. And this week I'm going to be talking about the Moonchild Tarot. So this is the deck that I have been working with all week. I actually, just today, the time I'm filming this, so I filmed these on Saturday. So just this morning, actually, I did a live video and I pulled a bunch of cards for people, did some free readings. So that was really fun right here on my YouTube channel. So I will link a card up in the dealy, you know, the card things. So that you can click on that video if you want to see sort of what my reading style is like, or how these cards, look, I'm already shuffling like I'm going to do readings again, or how these cards read for me and sort of see what I pulled out of the different images. I think that could give you a really good idea of what working with this deck might be like for you. My reading style is my reading style, but it would at least give you an idea of sort of how the images present themselves in readings. Cool. I did work with all of the extra cards in this deck. So as a reminder, these are the backings. They have this really pretty gold embossed finish, and it does have a little bit of texture to it. Very small amount, but just a little bit. And then the bag that Peggy made me for this is awesome. So it's not the same design as what's on the backs, but it's inspired by. So at least that's how I would say it, but Peggy would probably say something different. I had her design me a cartouche that has the moons, but it has 4 symbols in it, not just the 3 like you see here. And I love this bag. And also the fabric that it's on is like this really cool silvery veined. It's neat. Anyways, I have to say this deck read really, really well for me this week. I love this Hierophant card. Like, I really love it. And somebody says, I think it was Jezebel, my live chat was like, look, it's our robot overlord. And I'm like, what? But I love this card. Queen of Swords. I really like the way that color pops in this particular deck. I also like that the colors in this deck are different than the SparxCreations, which is funny because the SparxCreations is totally my colors, pinks and purples, and you see a fair amount of those in this deck too. But this deck also has a lot of golds and blues, oranges. I found this very easy to work with. I will say that I'm not sure how much of that was influenced by my recent numerology and like Tarot de Marseille studies, because I do think my comfort with numbers has helped a lot to allow me to be flexible when I'm looking at cards like this, and it may actually completely change the way that I work with the SparxCreations as well. But I do think that these cards in the Moonchild are more illustrative of, I don't know, I feel like they do really show the meaning of the card a little better than the SparxCreations, but I don't know if that's really true or if it's just that I find this one a little more aesthetically pleasing for my own taste. I don't know what it is. I really like the size. These are wider. I'm just thinking of what I have to compare. I'll just pull out one of the Oracle deck cards that I've been working with this week. These are wider because this is about a standard size, I feel like. So this is the Mystical Moments. And this is the Moonchild, so they're wider than a typical tarot, because I think this is standard. Who knows? I'm not very good at this, but these are wider. The Moonchild is wider. But what I like is that they're wider, but they're also borderless. So with the SparxCreations, when she came out with the SparxCreations, it was originally a size a little bit larger than this, but bordered. Or you could get it narrower, but borderless. And that's the version I have, which is an Akashic borderless version. Anyways, I'm babbling. This is a good size. It's just large enough so that I feel like I can really get drawn into the artwork. And I like larger decks, to be honest. And I have bigger hands, which is probably why I don't mind larger size. But this is a really good size. I still got a really good rifle shuffle off of it. Anyways, I'm talking about all the physical properties of the deck. It read beautifully. It's aesthetically really nice to hold. It feels substantial. It hand over hands really great. It rifle shuffles good. You'll see in my live if you manage to watch that whole thing. I mean, whatnot. But at one point I did a rifle shuffle, and sometimes the cards kind of stick. They kind of stick. So I bridge, and even after I bridge, sometimes they're still like sort of like this, and I have to kind of pat them down to get them to go all the way down. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean by that? So they kind of stick a little still, and I think that's just the case with some less slippery cards, like more matte cards just have a tendency to do that, but they work their way back in, it's fine. And this matte gilding, it doesn't make them stick together. It doesn't feel like it's gonna flake. Like, it just feels like a really high quality deck. I loved working with it this week. So no complaints, definitely a good reader. Will be looking forward to working with it again. It did not leave me with any sort of confusing, difficult to read kind of moments like I've had in the past with the SparxCreations. So no hesitation whatsoever. The guidebook is so good. It's so good. So for starters, it's really thick. I've got a little flag in here actually at a spot because there's a really beautiful invocation that is on page 141, and if you care, I guess you could pause the video and read that, but it's really, really lovely. So I flagged that, and I also, some of you might know that I actually edge the pages of my guidebooks sometimes so that they're in the colors of the elements, so I know where's the cups, where's the wands, and where's the pentacles and so forth. This has it built in kind of, so I don't know if you can see that, but there's a bit of color just at the top, and the color does shift with every suit, and the rest of it is, of course, the majors here in the first half. So there are a few bonus cards in this deck. I did use it with the bonus cards mixed in, and I had some really cool experiences. So let's see which ones they are. Here they are. Okay, so there's the Shadow Work card. This came up during my live reading session, and it was really good and powerful, I think, from my perspective. Divine Wisdom also came up, and this was really cool. So when this came up for me in readings, it seemed to have a different message related to spirit for the querent, so that was really cool. And the other extra card is Moonchild. I did not get this one all week, so I'm not sure how I would read that when it came up. I would just go with my intuition in the moment. But yeah, like, I left all the extra cards in. I had a fantastic experience with this deck. All good. I would easily give this deck 5 stars, no problem. I don't know why I'm rating the stars, that's new, but just so you kind of know how I feel about it. I do think this was definitely a worthwhile buy. I'm super happy I picked it up and happy to have it in my collection. So there you go. The Oracle deck that I worked with this week was the Oracle of Mystical Moments by, oh, sorry, pardon me. The Moonchild is by Danielle Noel. The Oracle of Mystical Moments is by Catrin Well-Stein. That's what the box looks like. It's got some silver on it. It's a 2-part box, nice and sturdy. This deck, kind of, I don't know. Like, I really enjoyed it. So it's definitely positive, but it's really different from everything else I have, which I think is what I like about it. I did, as I usually do with both of these decks, I read through their little guidebooks this week. I think I read both of the books in full, like last Sunday. I will say that this deck benefits from having, at least for me, I benefited from having read the guidebook. And surprisingly, the meanings of these cards from the guidebook stuck with me. And normally with oracles, I like to have some keywords. Like, this is Miss Sunshine. And this card is about having all this sort of darkness that's sort of not visible. And I see this kind of like an icebergy kind of card where somebody might seem really positive and joy-filled and all full of smiles, but deep down they got lots of crap going on too. That's what I remember. I could be completely off base, but that's what stuck out to me about the meaning of this card. Then I found myself using this deck partly intuitively, and partly I enjoyed going back to the guidebook because the guidebook has very short, totally digestible bits on every card. And the bits that they have are really memorable. There's a few keywords, and then there's like a chunky paragraph that explains what the message is and how the artwork is connected to the message. So they did a good job of connecting these images with the meaning. And yeah, I think this deck looked beautiful next to the Moonchild, and it played very nicely with the Moonchild. I think you will see, I posted at least a few Instagram photos of daily draws from this and the Moonchild together. And they bounced off, like they played off of each other very, very well. So I really enjoyed this. I did get this with the intention of using it with the Moonchild and also potentially pairing it with the Alice Tarot when it comes in from Baba Studio next year. I think it would be great for that. It's got enough of that sort of dreamy quality that I think it would go really, really beautifully with the Alice Tarot. Very different art style, I think, but similar enough and dreamy enough and kind of quirky enough that I think it will go well with that deck. But we will see. We'll see when I eventually have the Alice Tarot in my hot little hands. But that time is not now. So this deck too, I would give, I don't know if I'd give it 5 stars because I'm still sort of building a relationship with this one, and it feels like one that I need to get to know a little bit better, but definitely a solid 4. Easy. And it's just very different. I think that's the main reason I haven't given it a full 5 is because I feel like it's very different from my other stuff. Beautiful deck. Very cool. That is my thoughts on those. Wait to see what I've got coming up for this coming up week. Okay, so I'm really excited. And I'm like strangely out of breath, which I think is because, I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's the coffee. I'm going to drink some more. That'll help, right? I'll drink some more coffee, and then I'll hold my grounding stone. And then they'll kind of cancel each other out. That's how it works, right? Somebody tell me that's how it works. Anyways, coming up this week, I'm going to stick that in my lap. I have Pagan Otherworlds. This deck is so pretty. I'm excited to see what it's like to work with it. This is sort of like the defining moment because this was the most expensive impulse buy of my life. I bought it from a store in person. I talked about this in my No Deck November confessional video, which I will also put in the cards up there-ish, so you can watch me confess my sins, so to speak. But I went to a metaphysical store with my sister. They had a physical copy of this deck, and I could not walk away. I couldn't. These are the backs. Really, really pretty. So this comes with a significator card called the Seeker, which is just beautiful. It actually shows the figure like sticking their head through the veil and viewing the other world, which I think is so freaking cool. So significator. And then it's got these, I haven't decided how I'm going to use these. I don't think I'm going to shuffle them in for readings, but it does have these really lovely, they call them Luna cards. And they have this really cool sort of metallicized finish to them. I do think this is a previous edition than the current edition because the current edition shows these Luna cards having a holographic effect, and mine doesn't have that. It's definitely metallicized in some way, and it doesn't feel any different from the rest of the card. But it does have some shimmer, you know what I mean? So these are pretty, and I do have a moon card holder. I call it a moon card holder. It's a tarot card holder with a little tea light that I've been using with my mini moon deck, and maybe I'll trade out for these cards this week. But we're not going to go through that many moon phases this week, so we will see. I don't know how I'm going to use these, or if I'm going to use these, but I think it's cool that they're in here. And if you didn't have a moon deck already, it's neat that you get all the moon phases, and then you can just flip them over to get the other side of like the waxing and waning crescents and so forth. So that's pretty cool. So those are the sort of what I would see as extra cards. But then the images themselves are fully painted. Fully painted? I don't know what I'm trying to say. They're beautiful though. There's so much richness and detail in every single image. And these are on like a linen finish cardstock, so they've got a little bit of texture. I don't know if I can catch the texture in the light at all. Let's see if I can get a little bit of glare. They're not glossy, but they're not fully matte. They're like a playing card. That's the kind of finish I feel like on these. Oh, it's a 7 of Swords. There's something very primal and classy about this artwork that I really enjoy. The 3 of Coins, or Pentacles. The 4. They still need some good shuffling. They've been shuffled a bit because I couldn't not shuffle this deck as soon as it was in my hands. You can kind of see that I'm not... They're kind of still clumped up a little bit. They feel so good and they shuffle really good. So I'm pretty excited to play with these. I'm probably going to do That bridge is just amazing. I just love bridging these cards. I am probably going to do some live readings with this deck on Monday after work. So probably 5:30 to 6:30 Pacific time. I'm probably going to go live and do some readings. It's not set in stone yet, but that's sort of my loose plan, depending on what else we have going on. Look at the wheel. Love this with the lion here. And oh, okay. Anyways, Pagan Otherworlds is my deck of the week. So we will see how it reads, and I'm just hoping that this validates the purchase, because it was not an inexpensive deck by any stretch of the imagination. But so happy to have it, so we will see if it reads. As long as it reads good, then we're going to be good buddies forever. If it doesn't, then it shouldn't be a difficult deck to rehome, I would think. So I would do that, but I probably am going to give it a good try before I do that, because I'm invested. I did not grab the guidebook off my shelf, which I probably should have. I have shown it in that other video where the November confessional video that I mentioned. I did show the guidebook in that video if you want to take a look at it. The guidebook is one of those guidebooks where I read it all the way through and I'm kind of done now, like if that makes any sense. I don't think it's the kind of guidebook I would be referring to throughout the week or anything, but I have already read it cover to cover. So I'm good on that. So I'm not going to worry about trying to do that this week again. But this is the bag I picked for it. This really pretty sort of antique-y fabric, which I wish Peggy had more of, because we've had a couple people interested in this material, but it's gone now. Sorry. I think there's one of these still on the shop in a bag, though. But somebody wanted a reading cloth, I think. And it's all done. But it's pretty, and it fits this deck perfect. Okay. Okay, the Oracle deck I'm going to be working with this week is the Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Okay, so the story behind this deck. I have looked at this deck off and on because I really enjoy Alana Fairchild's decks. I have Sacred Rebels. There's another one I have as well that I really enjoy. And I have in the past enjoyed like Rumi quotes and things like that. The artwork in this deck, if you don't know who, I feel like it's a he, and somebody's going to like scream at the TV right now if they're watching it. Yeah, it does say right on the box, as it should, artwork is by Rassouli. Now, a lot of people I've noticed on YouTube seem to know who Rassouli is or was. Sorry, you're going to get some major glare from my computer or from my tablet. Oh, not if I go straight in. There we go. Okay. This artwork is freaking stunning. So pretty. And apparently Rassouli is a fairly well-known artist. I have picked up this deck in samples many times and put it down because I felt like maybe it was going to be a little too... Oh, I got to figure out how to hold this so you don't see my face twice. Then it's like Inception. But I interrupted myself. I've hesitated because some of these themes seemed a little bit Christian to me, which is not necessarily my path. So I'm interested to see what it's like to work with these cards. The story of how this deck came into my life, though, is interesting. I did not pick it up from a store or buy it off Amazon. I actually... Sorry for the double face that keeps happening. This artwork is so pretty. I actually ended up getting this because somebody in my neighborhood posted an ad on Facebook. They were ditching a couple of Oracle decks from their collection and offering them for $5 each. And this is like brand new condition. Like it doesn't have any wear at all. It's in beautiful shape. Anyways, I won't show you all the cards. The backings are really, really pretty. I've got my fingerprints all over them, but they're really pretty. They're like this pretty deep purple. There's even like a little bit of swirling here in the center, which the camera might not pick up very well, with this really pretty gold all the way around. And if I keep this deck, I'm going to edge it in a dark purple. But this is the deck where I really do need to read through the book, or at least read enough to know that I'm comfortable with the messages. The guidebook is very meaty, as a lot of Alana Fairchild's guidebooks are. If you're familiar with, say, the Sacred Rebels, you'll know that she typically does have like quite a lengthy write-up, and then usually some kind of like ritual or healing process or something like that as well. And this deck is no different. In this case, what you get is you get a Rumi quote, followed by a lengthy write-up, followed by, oh my gosh, some of these are quite lengthy, followed by a sacred honoring ritual. So some of these cards definitely do seem to have some themes that I'm like, I'm not sure. So I will read through this and see what I think. If for any reason this deck does not resonate with me, then I will find it a new home and it's all good. But I'm excited because this is a little outside my usual sort of themes for Oracle decks. So, but I just thought that something about this felt like it would pair beautifully with Pagan Otherworlds. It just felt a little bit like it would have that depth to it that would match really nicely. So I can't wait to start digging into this book, which I'm going to do this evening, probably with more warm beverages of some kind. Not coffee, because it's like 4 and I can't have coffee that late. But maybe a hot cup of tea and the fire and me, and I'm going to curl up with this book and get to know it a little bit better and this deck. So I'm excited to work with this over the coming week, and I'm looking forward to giving you all my thoughts because I have no idea what I'm going to think about this. I do know that the artwork is stunning and that I typically like Alana Fairchild's write-ups. So we shall see if the theme also resonates, and we will go from there. Last week I was showing off my unicorn spread cloth, one of them. So that was this one behind the Moonchild, and then the back is like a really rich dark purple with like this really cute design along the edge. But for the Pagan Otherworlds and the Rumi Oracle, I decided to go back to my Gustav Klimt reading cloth. Let me just fold this up. Sorry you have to watch me fold, but like I don't want to put it down all messy. So you get to watch me fold. You're welcome. Anyways, this is the Klimt cloth. It's a fabric that is actually Gustav Klimt design. Or artwork, I guess. It's been put on a pattern, and it's got some metallic in it. Mine needs to be quickly pressed, but the back doesn't because the back is all velvet. So I'm going to be working with that. I'm probably going to use a lot of the black. We'll see how it looks with the gold behind the Pagan Otherworlds and stuff, but I think this one will just look nice with those decks. So you'll probably see this, one side of this, and these cards on my Instagram post this week. We'll see how much posting I actually get to. I've been a little sporadic lately with my Instagram posting, but that is what I'm going to be working with this week. So I am really looking forward to that. I better cut this off because this is getting a little long and y'all are going to be like, it's like 22 minutes. But summary, I really enjoyed working with the Moonchild, super stoked. Oracle of Mystical Moments was fun. I'm super glad I picked it up. I think I'm going to enjoy working with that one again as well. Can't wait to work with Pagan Otherworlds and learn more about the Rumi Oracle. And if you like this type of video and you like this content, please remember to hit the thumbs up down below, subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos, and I will see you all again very soon.